Good day everyone, my name is Jayze Lantok from 12 Home Economics and this is my video presentation in physical science. Today, we'll be discussing about matter, atoms, molecules, and elements. So without further ado, let's get started. So let us start with matter, atom, and molecules. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. Matter can be both physical and chemical properties. In order for us to identify the real definition of matter, first, we have to define the volume and mass. Mass is how much something weighs, kung gaano ito kabigat. Pwede nating makuha ang mass ng isang bagay sa paggamit ng timbangan or scale. We can measure mass in pounds, kilograms, and grams. On the other hand, volume depends on the size or amount of sample matter. Kinukuha ng volume kung gaano kalaki, kung gaano kaliit yung nakukuha or nasasakop ng isang bagay. Kinukuha din nito yung length, width, and height ng isang bagay. We are going to use tape measure in order for us to know the measurement of this sample matter. Let me give you an example on how to get the measurement of mass and volume. I'll give you guys a demonstration. So now we are going to get the mass of these two books of mine. Since I don't have scale or timbangan right now, I'm just going to guess the measurement of these books. So this Principles of Tourism book of mine is bigger than my Pride and Prejudice book, but this one is heavier than my other book. So let's guess kung anong bigat neto. So let's say this is 3 kilogram and the other one is 5 kilogram. So ganun po yung pagkuha ng measurement nila dalawa. Using scale or timbangan, makukuha po natin yung bigat or weight ng sample matter. So now let's get the volume of my books using tape measure. So now let us start to get the volume of this book, Principle of Tourism. So makuha po natin yung height dito, and I'm using tape measure to get the volume of an object. So it is 9 inches. Yan po, ganyan po yung height. And let's start with length. Ang second is length. Ito po yung length. It's 5.5 inches. And yung width po, ayan po. Yan yung width. So, kukunin po natin yung width. It is just 1 inches exact. So, ayan po yung length, width, and height ng Principles of Tourism book. And now let's proceed to my Pride and Prejudice book. We're going to get the height first. The height of this book is 7 inches. And yung length is 4.2 inches po yung length niya. And yung width, since makapal po yung book na to, let us see kung yung Principle of Tourism po is exactly 1 inch. So let us see. They're almost the same. It's 1.1 inches. So ganun po ang pagkuha ng volume ng isang object by getting their length, width, and height. Therefore, yung mass po ay tumutukoy sa bigat ng isang bagay. Makukuha po natin yung weight neto by using scale or timbangan. On the other hand, volume naman po ay tumutukoy sa size or amount ng isang matter. Makukuha naman po natin yung volume ng isang bagay by using tape measure and getting its length, height, and width. And that is how we identify matter in a better way. So, matter is made up of small particles called molecules. However, molecules is made up of smallest particles called atoms. So now, let us discuss about atoms. Atoms are the smallest units of matter. It was once thought that atoms were the smallest thing in the universe and could not be divided. Democritus, a Greek scientist and a philosopher, created the first theory about atoms. He said that everything around us is made up of tiny particles surrounded by empty space. They also vary in size and shape depending on the substances they compose. Pinangalanan niya itong atomos na nangangahulugang indivisible in Greek word. An atom is made up of three tiny particles named electron, neutron, and proton. So as you guys can see in the video, we all knew that this is an electron, yung negative charge na umiikot sa nucleus. An electron is negatively charged subatomic particle. It can be either free or bound from the nucleus. And in the middle, that is what we call atomic nucleus. An atomic nucleus contains protons and neutrons. Yung proton naman po ay positively charged, while the neutron has no charge, pero parehas lang sila ng bigat ng proton. At kung gaano rin kadami yung electron, ganoon din po kadami yung protons and neutrons. So yung atom po is neutral. Lahat po ay balance, walang labis, walang kulang. So, that's an atom. But, this model is already inaccurate. We already have new model of an atom, and it is named as the modern atomic model. Pero bakit nga ba inaccurate na yung dating model at meron na tayong bagong model ng atom? I can give you two reasons why. First, yung atom po talaga ay sobrang liit and mas maliit pa po dun yung nucleus. Yung nucleus po ng atom ay sobrang liit na pumunta sa puntong hindi mo na siya kayang makita sa microscope and ang hirap na rin po niyang hanapin or makita. Second, ang alam po natin na ang electron ay umiikot sa nucleus. Around nucleus, just like how Earth orbits the Sun. Pero, dahil po sa discovery ni Schrödinger and Heisenberg, bago na po ang perception natin sa atoms. Pinatunayan po ni Schrödinger and Heisenberg na mali po yung idea na may orbit na iniikutan ang electrons around nucleus. In fact, Heisenberg discovered that it is impossible to know the location of an electron and its velocity. In other words, electrons are completely unpredictable. Yung electrons po ay walang pattern or shell na pinag-iikutan around the nucleus. Mahirap pong i-predict or alamin yung location ng electron kung saan siya umiikot around the nucleus. Dahil yung mga electrons po ay mayaman or napakadaming energy na dumating na po sa punto na hindi na po sila umiikot in circular motion sa kahit saan na po. Ganun po yung bagong na-discover ni Heisenberg and Schrödinger. Schrödinger used his knowledge to show that electrons are just existing in electron clouds. Yung makita niyo pong bilog, ayan po yung electron clouds. Nandyan lang po umiikot si electron and wala po siyang orbit or shell na pinag-iikutan. And that is atom. Now, let us discuss molecules. Molecules are the smallest particles of pure chemical substance that retain its composition and chemical properties. And molecule is a group of atoms stuck or joined together, usually through chemical bonds. A molecule is a group of atoms that can form a different number of bonds. It can be two atoms stuck together or like a protein that contain a 500,000 atoms. There are main types of bonding, the covalent and ionic bonding. There are major elements in our body na madalas na nakikipag-covalent bond sa iba or sharing their electrons. And these are oxygen that can collide with two atoms, hydrogen that can collide with one atom, and carbon that can collide with three atoms. So, a covalent bonding is a type of chemical bond where two atoms are sharing two or more electrons to each other. So, example, there's a single hydrogen atom with a one positively proton and one negatively neutron. Suddenly, there is also a single atom, hydrogen one, that has positively proton and negatively electron. When they are getting closer to each other, na-attract nila yung isa't isa like magnet hanggang sa mag-collide sila at magiging molecule. And ang tawag po doon ay covalent bonding. Pero, hindi sila permanently na nakabond. Pwede para silang mag-diverge or maghiwalay kapag hindi enough yung heat na nakuha nila sa isa't isa and kapag meron din silang na-interact na ibang atoms or molecules. And yun po yung rason para mag-diverge or mag-separate ang molecule. Meanwhile, an ionic bonding is a type of chemical bond where an atom or molecule are connected to each other by electrostatic attraction. And let me give you an example. Example, the magnesium and oxygen. So how will the ionic bond be formed? As you can see, magnesium has 12 electrons while the oxygen has 10 electrons. Paano natin sila mapagbabond or paano sila magiging balance? So as you can see, we are going to move the two electrons of magnesium to oxygen to make these atoms balance together. So yung magnesium po ay mag-lose ng 2 electrons para magkaroon ng octet, while yung oxygen naman po ay mag-gain ng 2 electrons to make an or to have an octet. In summary, an ionic bonding is defined as the electrostatic attraction between two oppositely charged ions. When an ionic bond is formed, the charge must be balanced so that the ionic compound was an overall neutral charge. Balance po lahat, walang labis, walang kulang para successful yung ionic bonding. In conclusion, molecule is the smallest molecule in chemical component or component that has chemical properties. Molecules is made up of atoms that are held together by chemical bonds. Covalent and ionic bonding is a result of exchanging or sharing electrons among atoms. And now let's proceed to elements. The periodic table, also known as the periodic table of elements, is a tabular display of the chemical elements which are arranged by atomic number, electron configuration, and recurring chemical properties. The periodic table, also known as the periodic table of elements, is a tabular display of the chemical elements which are arranged by atomic number, electron configuration, and recurring chemical properties. The structure of the table shows periodic trends. A periodic table is made up of 118 elements. A periodic table has 7 horizontal rows called periods, and 18 vertical columns on the periodic table are called groups. Every group has a family, like in group 1, except hydrogen, from lithium to francium. It is the family of alkali metals. And group 2 is alkaline earth metals. So I will explain the parts of an element. Example, hydrogen. As you guys can see, the atomic number. Yung atomic number ay yung atoms ng element na yan. Example po yung sa hydrogen, 1 po yung neutron niya, 1 din po yung proton niya, and 1 din yung electron niya. Ayun po yung atomic number. Yung H naman po, ayun po yung symbol ng hydrogen. And kitang-kita rin po sa baba ng H yung spelling ng hydrogen. And yung 1.008, yun naman po yung atomic weight or yung bigat or mass ng atoms. So why does periodic table have different colors? A typical periodic table is colored according to the group of elements that are sharing physical and chemical properties. Same color, same row, same family means same number of electrons in valence level, and they have similar properties. The periodic table of element is important because it is organized and providing a great deal of information about the elements and kung paano rin sila related sa isa't isa. Magagamit din yung periodic table para ma-predict yung mga elements na hindi pa na-discover. So it means possible pa na madagdagan yung periodic table of elements. To sum up everything that I said, matter is anything that has mass and space, and it is made up of molecule. However, molecule consists of atoms that are grouped together. In periodic table of elements, all of those elements are matter because they have atomic mass and atomic weight, atomic number. So let us proceed to the last lesson. Like what I said, everything that has mass and space is matter. We are able to see, touch, and smell matter. And it has 3 types: the solid, liquid, and gas. And let us start first with solids. Solids is a state of matter that has a constant shape, volume, and mass. We are able to touch, smell, feel, see solids. Like for example, this brush of mine, earphones, food like pizza, yung ulam like adobong manok, and my chair, my clothes, yeah, those are solids. While the liquid is a state of matter that has a volume but doesn't have constant shape. Actually, possible po na magkaroon ng shape ang water kung ilalagay mo siya sa solid. Like for example, this one. Pag nilagyan ko po ng tubig to, yung tubig po na yan ay magkakaroon ng shape which is yung shape ng baso na to. Ganun po yung magiging shape ng water. And ito pong ay solution ko. Yes, water po siya, inilagay po siya sa loob. Kaya ito na po yung shape niya. Kaya wala po siyang sinasabing constant shape kasi nakadepende po siya kung saan siya malalagay. Pero kung ang water po ay nakalagay lang sa kamay mo or walang sa gripo lang po nakabukas, wala po talaga siyang shape. And we can only feel liquids. We are not able to touch them. Like for example, water, soft drinks, vinegar, soy sauce. Those are the examples of liquids. Lastly is gas. Gas is a state of matter that has neither volume nor constant shape. We are not able to see, touch gases. We are just able to feel them, like wind, fart, yes. And actually we are able to see some gases like carbon dioxide from factories or carbon dioxide from cars. Yeah. The examples of gas are utot, fart, and wind, hangin, hininga ko, yung breath ko, breath mo, breath nating lahat. Those are gas. And yung mga smoke from cigarettes, cars, factories, those are carbon dioxide, and which is gas. So, particles of matter. Yung mga particles po na yan ay nasa loob ng container. Sa solid, the particles of solids contain a very little space from each other and they are tightly packed. While liquid, tinitake po nila or may shape po yung water, just like what I said earlier, na possible magkaroon ng shape ang water kapag nilagay siya sa solid na lagayan. And yung gas naman po is just flowing around. Ikot-ikot lang po siya dun sa loob ng container. Kung may takip, pero kung wala pong takip yung container na yun, aakyat po yung gas na yun until it disappear. That's how it works. So water exists in 3 states of matter, and I'm going to show it to you by using the theory of ice. So I'm going to demonstrate to you the ice theory. So like what I said earlier, water exists in 3 states of matter, which are solid, liquid, and gas. So itong water, pag nilagay mo dito sa ice cube, yan, and put it into freezer for 2 or 3 hours, magiging cube na siya and magkakaroon ng shape. And also, you can hold it. So, solid na siya. Pero, kapag nilagay mo yung ice cube ulit sa water, you'll wait it hanggang matunaw. And liquid na siya. Paano naman siya magiging gas? So, kapag mainit, yung tipong nakatenga lang po yung tubig sa baso, matutuyo po siya, mag-evaporate into gas. And that's how ice theory works. Again, water exists in 3 states of matter, which are solid, liquid, and gas. In conclusion, matter is anything that has mass and space like solid, liquid, and gas. It also includes the periodic table of elements because it is all made up of atoms and molecules. And that's it. That's the end of our discussion. I hope you learned some knowledge from me, and thank you for listening as well. Again, my name is Daisy Lantok from 12 Home Economics, and this is my video presentation in physical science. Thank you and God bless. Adjust.